We wish to introduce our baby. She has written something and we wish to explain about this split, we would call it the expression. What you are witnessing when you read is what she saw on her bedside. She does not entirely know this. That is what has been noted by the Krayan as an entangled kush. We would suggest the term that we enjoy is fully entangled akash with fully activated 12 layer DNA. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. So this is what this is. In the process, she saw herself on the bed. When she was sitting on the bed, but of course at this point she also saw herself sitting on the bed. It's cute. It is very cute. Anyway, what she saw was this. She saw this. There was this baby that we put on her spine and said, "Watch out, girlie, it's gonna get big real fast." Basically, she wrote about it. It was slimy and super gross at the base of spine. But others had similar experience. You can check the timing anyway. And then it grew. And so she had this caduceus thing in her spine. She talked about it. And it went into her head and blah blah. Okay, girlie. So, this is what happened, you see. When she began to realize that she had this, she went from, oh, whatever, the two sons, whatever, it's beautiful, it's all metaphor, and it's very pretty and everything. We laugh because we're funny and happy. So at this one point, it was the caduceus, and she would just go crazy. She still does. If she thinks about the purple and the gold being different, it just makes her so mad, and it makes her feel very bad, like when she was in the old energy. Just like that, just really sick. When she thinks about the purple and the gold being in different cloth tubes, it just makes her go crazy. She keeps saying to us, no, it's the same energy. We know, girlie, it's the same energy. It just expresses different. Yes, dear, we understand. Thank you for letting us know this. But we unfurled it, you see. She was sitting at bed watching. Ooh, it get unfurled, and she saw the two ribbons. She talked about it, but so much of this didn't. Who knows if it got published? Who knows? We were just going so crazy. But don't use that word. We were so expressive. This is what the 450th video. Oh my God, yuck. But a lot had to be said. So anyway, she's sitting there and she sees the yellow, the gold. It's so pretty. And then she sees the purple. And they go, ooh, but separate, And we say, okay, you write on the gold. We are the purple. And she understand what the gold is. She saw the gold. So then she went, well, okay, so the essays, they were channeling? Well, I was talking about my life. I was talking about my patience. I was talking about the coffee being empty and the kitties thinking they were going to get tuna and that was good. I was talking about great loves in my life. What? Channeling? What? Oh my. Once again the telescope was woo, woo, woo. And she understand how big this is and how divine every single human being is. Oh my. Everyone's an angel. So you see, it goes far. But the question has been again and again, what do I do with this shit? What am I gonna do with this shit? Who am I now, gosh darn it? She doesn't say the GD thing no more. Some things can't come out mouth, they just get stuck. It's not good, it feels bad. So that just doesn't even get thought of after a while because and this is what we told her. This is what we told her. It just becomes a ooh. Then it's like, why would I want to go ooh all the time? Remember the whiplash? It's the idea just energetically, and so it becomes less. You just don't want to attend to it because it's nasty. It hurts you. Not that it's nasty, it's beautiful. But the way you are feeling, it's nasty. Ugh, I don't like the way that feels. Okay, we want to ask you a question now. Just for fun, and then we read this beautiful essay she wrote. And she says she because she wants to say what this like, okay? This we forgot. And there's no cannabis in here. It's just oh gosh darn it was so pretty, and this is such an important video too. But perhaps it comes back to us at the end. Yes. Well, what kind of spiritual teacher are we? See, this is why we're going to do the healing work. We're going to say to you one day, there'll be hundreds of thousands, and they'll be listening to a microphone just like the Gandhi. Maybe at that time she decides she wants to dress in a sheet. We don't know these things. So she's sitting there, and the whole world is listening to her. And she says, I finally figured it out, everybody. It's taken a really long time. You can tell I'm old now. You thought I was old before. Well, too bad you didn't know. I was going to be this old and this smart and this ready to tell you about what the meaning of life is. It's so easy. You can put a bumper sticker on the mug. Everyone will know, and it'll be so easy. It'll just be like, oh, hey, why didn't we think of that before? And so it okay. What was I talking about? This is why it's best to be writer, yes, and healer, but it's just funny. So we're gonna read this now, and we're gonna just be okay with being silly. How does that sound? You like that idea? How silly are you in your daily life? How often do you tell joke, huh? Are you the one who bring the joke book to work and say? You don't have to say, hey, I don't like how you're always talking about Mabel so bad. I think Mabel a good woman. I don't care if she's a shit-ass wife. She a good woman, so don't be talking like bad about Mabel around me, because I'm better than you. You could do that. But mastery is that you anticipate. There's a very unhappy man or woman at the water cooler with you who is could be talking about anything, even spots, even the kitty cat, but they're talking to you about Mabel. So you are a very important soul to this person, and this person might do well with a little humor. And you happen to find the Gas and Keela Pretty Good Joke Book Volume 2 at the Goodwill for 99 cents last night. So, you bring in the joke book and you tell the joke to co-worker, and maybe for the 5 minutes the heart is light. Maybe 5 minutes. Maybe in a couple weeks, if you keep doing it as it feels good, maybe they tell a joke. Think? We wonder how happy the Mabel and the co-worker might be after some time of this that they could count on. Who is the one who is spiritually advanced, would we ask, in that particular scenario? For many, it was the farmer. For this one, 'Twas the farmer, oftentimes offering silence instead. Usually, and never advice, but judgments, lack of compassion. Compassion is a skill. It is the tracer of benevolence, you see. The tracer. We are proud of this one's work. It is important for her to establish her identity. The crystal which she refers to and saw herself as could be simply seen as a soul, so pure, so lighted, so clean, so bright, not fragile, not at all plasmic, eternal. Not a plaything that we will be placing on a shelf, not a simple book which will eventually disintegrate. A soul, unending, ever expensive, ever creative, ever expressive. Of what it is her honor to embody divine will. The power increases with the responsibility, and the responsibility increases with maturity, and the maturity increases with the intent, willingness, and permission of the entity. You might want to write that one down. And now we want to give you she. She is your sister. She is your friend. She is your petitioner. She is the one who is in need currently. She is your opponent at times. And never anything but in full-on, desperate, juicy, sweet love with each and every one. What breaks her heart is when it cannot be seen and returned in full. Can you not understand her sadness? Can you not understand her wishes? For the way in which healing she feels can be most effective. We honor her choices. We support them. And her abundance grows. Her abundance is already grown. Because today she shares this, and she took the vow of Fat Farmer. She understands everything she gives away, she gets back fourfold or more, dear one. Oh, so much more. So allow good to be, allow pain to be, allow conflict to be, and allow resolution to be possible, at least. Possible, maybe, one day, in the golden future. Keep that. We want to stress an idea in this essay. It is this. She said when it began, it's important when it began. She wasn't thinking about benevolence. What's that? What does that word mean? It meant nothing to her when we told her about it. When everything had turned gold, yes. But benevolence? No. Better? Oh, that was a trigger word. Don't be saying that around her. It's gonna get better. Oh, go fuck yourself. That's what she would say. Oh yeah? Join me in the muck and then tell me about getting better. How about if you help dress this wound while I go take care of that dying guy? Better. This was a level of anger. It was simply being here. And then the unkindness she was surrounded by, and the small-mindedness, and the argumentativeness. It got old. Thank God. And so, this is called Cool With It. Alright, I just want to read this. I'm really proud of it. If anything can stand as a testament to who and what I am, what it felt like to just be me. And I really felt very relieved to think about my life as a book on a shelf. Thank God that's over. Lots of ins and outs and twists and turns, but I didn't feel very good. It was pretty sparkly, but can it be over, please? And now it's like, no, I think not. No. Rewrite. Let's go back and visit those people and say, hey, what that guy with the cane said, he was right on. So here's how you do it. Future self can visit past self. La la la. And the healing cycle is complete. Anyway, whatever. I don't want to get too la la. Alright, this is just me. This is just me being rocker chick. Go fuck yourself, Kathy, okay? Basically. Because yeah, she's still alive and fucking well, I'll tell you that. Oh, really? Okay, good. Well, let me jam, because I think this is bullshit. That's how she rolls, and I'm gonna let her. Because it's all with just a good sense of humor, and it's like, whatever. You want to call me a wrecking ball? Go ahead and do that. I'd say you're reacting to a song. And so if you're emotional, if you're triggered, you're triggered. If you're not triggered, not triggered. No big deal. Move on. So hit pause. I don't give a crap. This is my time, baby. So yeah, she's alive and well. You like her? Is she a bitch? Should I put her down? What do you think, Minky? She may go away. Who knows? She's kind of spicy, huh? Ugh. See, that's the MPD shit I need to avoid, because that's, that's the last label I want. Oh, really? Yeah. You want to tell me what trauma created it, and who was there to create the triggers, and for what end? And yeah, I can list the trauma, I can list the resolution, and I can I can ask you to front for lunch, and I'll show you the healing. You can do it that way too, or you can call me an MPD. So yeah, there's a bit of irreverence, and I think that what used to be grand impatience and just a sense of wild anger is now just sort of like, really? Really? And I have to make sure that's tempered with, yeah, I was there. Yeah, I know all the frick about that. In fact, if you'd like to tell me what it's like for you, maybe I'll tell you what it was like for me. But that's it. I don't have a 5-point plan for you. And I expect when you come over as a friend, you're going to bring some beer. And not your problems. Because my shaman life is effectively over. I'm no longer going to keep myself at the edge of the village and be everyone's emotional tampon. I've decided. Whee! So anyway, this is called Cool With It. Are you cool with it? I hope. So, wow. Talk about spending 6 weeks in wall-to-wall, self and soul-directed creation. Just wow. And now yesterday was the day I was packed in wads of cotton, white, absorbent, pristine. They told me, yes, well, think of a crystal figurine that is more valuable than anything you will ever come to own on this earth, and has been on your desk for the last 4 years as you studied. It reminded you of faraway ancestors, your place in it all, and a future that you know must be yours, simply because daily you have been applying yourself toward it, openly willing, teeth bared in a mysteriously fascinating and permanent and simple smile, sleeves rolled up, knowing if you do just this much for today. It'll add up, and you will become more. And then the day comes to pack up the dorm room, to say hello, finally, and then goodbye, to the little patch of linoleum on which you have paced, and laid down, and cried on, and gotten sick on, and ignored. This empty room, well, it takes on such different meanings as do you, once everything is all packed up. But this figurine, they told me, this is the thing which you couldn't bear to cover up until it was necessary. The last thing to go into the suitcases. Is it appropriate to slip it in a sock and jam it between the old highlighted books? Or is it best, do you think, to gently slip it into a little box filled with new white cotton balls, allowing it to settle without touching even an edge of the box, riding around in white softness as the little wooden box gets nailed shut, the token safe, guarded, and treasured? This, they told me, is what you can imagine is happening. So, of course, dear one, everything seems like a goodbye, and everything feels soft. And this is why you know you are safe, because of this funny feeling of floating in between the spaces formed with words. Not a null, just a time to be cool with what you have been planning comes next, the culmination of a lifetime. And as simple as getting your ass on that boat, on that plane, on that train, in that car, heading away from training and into practitionership, into mastery itself. This is how they talk to me now, and this is the level of help I get as I butter my toast or talk to someone who has an issue or two they need to hammer out with me, and with those who simply can't wait for me to hang with them as they go about their plans and fulfill obligations they think are fun or boring or gross. It's true that I know they are physical. It is not healthy for me, what I sometimes call dumb for me, to ignore the full-on physical presence of those whose teachings soothe me, and whose love for me spins my casino machine reels and makes the machines poop out a few bucks, as they laugh and cajole and instruct me on energetic management, expectation, responsibility of expression, and flexibility of thought. And I am, in some ways, very different from who I used to be, and in some ways I have not changed at all. I consider this merely an amplification of that which others have long positively, negatively, but very strongly reacted to. So, I know of the amplification of that which I so vehemently kept at bay, at times leading while in the depths of darkness, as it rode around with ever-increasing incognito light, to years of depression, of self-destructive patterns of behavior and expectation, and eventually in full denial, doubt, refusal with and of its existence. This argument visited me as profound illness, multiple hospitalizations, life traumas, relationship ruptures, car accidents, near-death experiences, so many, and other things just as alarming. And I know of a diminution of that which always made me physically ill anyway, truth be told. The simple energy that spurred on and made valid the destructiveness I saw in my life and the lives of others. It was indeed self-perpetuating and imprisoning in its own way. I often called this reality oppressive, and it was so hard to shake off. It required writing about it. It required I create deeply awake. I will say that as the lights came on in 2012, this willingness to acknowledge that there was something bigger is simply how it started. Not better, not benevolent, not even anything but neutral, truth be told. Just simply bigger. That is exactly what it was like for me when it began in earnest, and I started feeling what I call normal. When things got good. When the sparkle finally came back and stayed on. It was on 10/30/15, the day my innate kicked in and my ass was no longer grass. So yes, I know of the diminution of the depressed, apprehensive, self-loathing, and at times what I considered so gripless maybe borderline retarded, with a smattering of the mean person I had found myself behaving like so often as things changed for me, and I learned to adjust. It was like that for less and less periods of time, less and less long periods of time, and it was more and more uncomfortable. It would indeed shut my heart down and made everything feel so scary and made me feel so small. I experienced less and less of the physical illness stuff, but for fevers and one object lesson that was traumatic. My body wasn't taking the hit for my emotions or experience anymore. So, during this time of slow awakening, from January 19th and January 25th of 2012 forward, no physical harm settled on me, though I was diagnosed with severe arthritis in my right hip, so bad it required replacement. This I learned in 14, which is now resolving. Other than that, which I understood to be things I couldn't process fully in the moment, there has simply been more open and rapid communication between me and my body. So I am no longer expecting illness to visit me as it might have, had I not been willing to do this way back when. During those 4 years, bad feelings would visit me, and I felt like I had never processed so freaking hard in my life. But oh my God in heaven, the feelings were overwhelming in their magnitude and sheer force. I'm quite the weeper anymore. Just ask anybody. I feel. But even that is not as violent as it was in the preceding years. I had many friends and listened to Matt Kahn for comfort while doing this massive clearing work. But I took heart. I knew there were many doing it, and we were doing it for all time, for the collective, to shift things so things could get better for everyone. It was part of our job. We could do it, and we'd volunteered. Like that is how we all saw it. I'm glad I had those guys, because it was crazy making. So I let things progress, and I let them culminate. And in full knowledge of what was about to go down, I opened a little eye on my laptop and let you guys watch as I did this curious thing, which I had no explanation for except that I knew that it was time. Time for something extraordinary, something singular, something grand, like catching lightning in a bottle, is how I have put it in my essays. Oh, will you look how clever this is? I would think to myself. It's like catching lightning in a bottle. This was my work, why I came here, to capture for all what it felt like for one, who did something like on assignment and is happily completed with her work. It is the embodiment which now quiets the last of the denial, doubt, and argument with all that I know to be all that I am. No trauma, no illness, no physical symptom, just a bump, a nudge, a correction, done in love, in harmony, in willingness, and at times still somewhat unskilled, though passionate now. I see these old patterns, these codes, the noise, the dark. This was once my prison, then my boxing partner, then my instructor, and now my counselor, all who I know now recognize as tired children who really just need to be told how valuable they are, that they did nothing wrong, and no one is mad at them, nor could they ever be anything but so grateful and happy for their beautiful and wonderful presence. Then to feed them a cookie and let them go back to sleep. I feel that way about the things which at one time had me pinned by the neck on the floor, thinking, yep, it's true. After all, there are a lot worse things around here than death. Haven't you been there? Quite a few times, I'll bet, if you're still reading along. It is these more accessible thoughts and more unfettered realities that allow the old, gnarling, threatened monsters that used to lunge at me and make me stumble and hurt myself, these now appear elegantly as feeling states I now know it best not to expose myself to. Makes me sick, I tell myself alone, reviewing things not in a voice of contempt, but that of diagnostician, to be honest. It's unhealthy for me. I've decided that is a phrase I can use to just politely remove myself from things I know are not good for me. This isn't healthy for me. No one who is in this for my benefit as well as theirs will argue with that, I figured. It's a way to let the other expose their hand, in gentleness, in acceptance, in tolerance, and in love. And it totally doesn't mean it isn't healthy for anyone else. And it doesn't mean it is bad for the one offering me a slice. But when I ingest, things happen to me that I would rather not waste your time talking about. And for sure, I would just prefer we move past the things between us causing so much discord, change what we want, love each other after having loved ourselves, with authenticity and honesty and awe and gratitude, and not even think about the sickness anymore. It's best. But just for me. Just for me. And without telling another person what is good for them. Fuck that shit. I am more clear about my entire rejection of the giving of advice. It's nonsense. And it tells me only that someone is in the thralls of something super good for them, that they know could heal me, the one sitting next to them at the salon, or the lunch counter, or my bed. I think to myself, I am glad you have found harmony and balance and peace with these things. Tell me more. Tell me more. But never assume, love, that it is healing that I require. See me as whole, please. Do not assume I am broken. Assume instead that the freedom from which you speak, that soul song you are singing, that it was I who built the stage on which you sing your song, into that huge-ass microphone you have in your hand. And now, let me stand on your stage, hold the mic you provide for me, and let's begin to sing new songs, both in acknowledgement of our intrinsic worth. Let's do that, how about? And funny thing, I'm finding many who are in alignment with their chosen expression, and they help me heal, as I know my presence helps them heal, just from being banged up by the energy, the stuff that has thankfully become, more and more, a fond companion, but one that knows it's best to think before speaking, like that. I asked for merge, for blend, and I have achieved that. I hear their clipped staccato as I write, and I really don't mind it at all. Even though it doesn't say channel, it might as well. Still, I like talking as me, as this me, for this time, and saying a couple of things. I know at times that I have indeed done what I came to do, and this thought, well, since it's a really big one, I come at it from the side, from the back, and only when I know it isn't paying attention to me. It shines and sparkles, and I look and wonder, well, isn't that something? How did this all happen again? It floods me sometimes, and there is a lot I do not recall consciously, not because I'm blocking it for terror or newness, but instead because this all happened in stair steps, and so there are parts to the story that only seem salient to one aspect of self. Excuse me. Or the healing, or the story. I am pleased with my work. Last night at the sink, so glad to soon be crash landing into another dreamless sleep, I realize that I have now gone nearly 6 weeks producing high art daily, The word count, the content, just the whole thing. I just stood there and goggled at the sheer labor involved. Then I checked and confirmed, yeah, yesterday was the first day I took off since April 17th. I like those numbers, that April date. I like what they spell. And of course it would be an 8. And of course it would be a 12. And of course it would spell 3. That's what my graduation does. Of course it would. A silly game I play with myself, perhaps, but soothing. So why call it down? Why call it names or suspect it of foul play? Instead, it is something I have done for decades, letting dates and license plates and identity numbers spell things out. Why not? It makes me smile. I know what I'm wanting to do next, and it has nothing to do with a voice telling me I have to. Oh, hell no, I say. No, it isn't like that at all, being pushed around and led by my nose. I finally had enough of that nonsense and told everybody on my graduation day, it's not going to be like that around here anymore. Not anymore, thanks, but I think not. I said. It was more like, I think not. Really. I decreed what it was like for me. Not going to be if conferred, not given if worthy, but what I am and what it is. Full awareness, full access, full memory, full expression, full embodiment now. And I think as a group I can say that the reaction was one of, well, okay. Just as this had for my 55 years been my response to them. Well, okay, I would say, and lope off and do weird, unexplainable, counterintuitive things. Way, way off the beaten path stuff. All in good humor, responsibly, legally, even reverently, sedately. Pursuits into furthering my education. Into science once again. Into anthropology. Reading, absorbing, comparing, learning, gathering. Sometimes highly traditionally. Sometimes boho. And I might add, sexually responsible for the entirety. I went off and did my thing and broke up and moved on and changed jobs and moved houses, did what I knew I had to do, knowing I was growing less and less fond of having others think for me or tell me how to feel, but letting them anyway. And so the sickness dug in and went to work, really, figuring out my karma. Is it? Or just widening reality? All these things, some labeled weird, none of it could, nor I explain, simply because if I tried, I was never believed, or I was made fun of, or told to stop it and just get on with this living stuff, being reminded how bad I was at all the stuff the cool kids don't need to study to get A's. Well, okay, I said, and I tried. I really, really did try. No one could ever say, looking at my life, that I didn't at least show up and participate. So now, I'm going to heal people again, but only one-to-one setting for now. Groups maybe, but later. One-to-one, soul to soul. And as they allow their fear to come out and have an expression, they will be there to soothe and guide and love back into balance, harmony, goodwill. The participant's soul standing with mine, entwined, both of us smiling and loving and giving, with no intention but to allow the one who participates a chance to feel just how much love they are actually made of, how safe they are, how so many of the things they tell themselves might not entirely be true. And watch the pain fall. Watch the bitterness flee. Watch the spring once again return to the cells long dormant, waiting for this time, when the one unaware of their own integrity says, yes, okay, I feel safe enough. I am ready. And I meet them in my sacred sanctuary, and we exchange realities. I think of the criticism and feedback I might get as simple pests, like buzzing flies who know there is food about, and they will benefit from the food being offered and enjoyed and strengthened by. And so we will all each be nourished in our own way. So let the flies buzz, let the flowers bloom, and let those who wish to be healed show up under my fingertips and under their finest tutelage and care. I look forward to my life. I no longer long for those who have judged this expression of mine incompatible with what is wise or safe or sane. That's fine. I have found my own way. And after the shit I've been through, having found that is all I feel obligated to do. I no longer feel a need to comfort those who are made uncomfortable by me, or how I express, or indeed, how I once did. I'm cool with it. And I really am. I am blessed among men. Say that.